Ken Hewitt's bold move. I'm not backing down. It's time to push forward with real change. The last federal election was a tough and fast-paced race that tested candidates across Canada. For Conservative MP Ken Hewitt, the experience was especially intense. Unlike many of his counterparts who had months or even years to prepare, Hewitt learned he was the official Conservative nominee for Hamilton Mountain only days after the election was called. This left him less than 2 weeks to mount a credible campaign in a riding that had not elected a Conservative in 45 years. Despite the odds, Hewitt's determination and political experience helped him secure a remarkable 42% of the vote, nearly 25,000 ballots, setting a record for Conservative support in the area. This surge in a traditionally liberal and NP-leaning riding signals shifting political winds and a hunger for change among voters. Ken Hewitt's late nomination meant he had to move quickly to assemble a campaign team, raise funds, and build name recognition. These are challenges any candidate faces, but they become exponentially harder without the luxury of time. Hamilton Mountain, a community Hewitt had not lived in for many years, demanded an authentic and urgent connection. Ken credits his previous campaign experience for helping him mobilize volunteers and organize effective outreach efforts under pressure. More than anything, he found the direct contact with voters, listening to their hopes, concerns, and even criticisms, the most rewarding part of the campaign. This face-to-face engagement is often missing in today's politics, where digital messaging can overshadow genuine conversations. Looking beyond the campaign trail, Hewitt emphasizes that the real work starts after Election Day. Many Canadians remain skeptical or disengaged from politics, partly because daily life demands so much attention. Rising housing costs, inflation at the grocery store, and everyday financial pressures leave little bandwidth for following political debates or party platforms in detail. This disconnect means that many voters make their decisions late or based on limited information. Hewitt believes that politicians must bridge this gap by staying in touch with constituents year-round and focusing on practical policies that improve lives rather than abstract promises. One of Hewitt's core concerns is the expanding role of government programs. While acknowledging that social supports are important, he warns against a growing dependence on government that can inadvertently limit individual freedom and initiative. In his view, Canada should prioritize fewer, well-run programs rather than an abundance of initiatives that may not deliver meaningful outcomes. This perspective resonates with many Canadians who feel the rising cost of living is compounded by inefficiencies in government spending. Hewitt points out that unlike 20 years ago, when many families could thrive on a single income, today 2 incomes are often necessary just to cover basics. This economic reality fuels his call for policies that empower families rather than burden them with complex government dependency. Hewitt's vision aligns closely with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's message of economic freedom and reduced government interference. Poilievre has framed the current group of 144 Conservative MPs as a government in waiting, emphasizing readiness to offer Canadians a clear alternative to the Liberal administration led by Carney. The stakes are particularly high given Carney's background as a former Bank of Canada governor and his economic expertise, which he leverages to present a technocratic and policy-driven approach. However, Hewitt and other Conservatives argue that the government's focus must remain on empowering everyday Canadians and addressing the cost of living crisis with sustainable, common-sense solutions. A significant challenge facing the Conservative Party and many others is the process of candidate selection and preparedness. Hewitt explains that while candidates must post a refundable bond and undergo social media vetting, assessing their overall competence is far more complex. The party's grassroots model encourages local members to choose candidates, which strengthens community engagement but also creates risks. Sometimes well-liked local figures may lack the skills needed to win or effectively represent their riding at the national level. This tension between grassroots democracy and strategic candidate quality is a balancing act the party must manage carefully to improve its electoral chances. The last election revealed notable inconsistencies in campaign readiness across ridings. Some benefited from strong local organizations, experienced volunteers, and early candidate nominations, while others struggled with last-minute preparations, uneven use of technology, and insufficient training. Hewitt calls for a post-mortem process akin to a business review to honestly assess what worked and what did not. This includes standardizing candidate training, better technology deployment, and building stronger volunteer networks well before election season. Waiting until the writ drops to start preparing is simply too late in today's competitive political environment. This issue of preparedness is not unique to the Conservative Party. Other parties also face difficulties in recruiting and readying candidates early. Given Canada's frequent elections and shifting political currents, Hewitt insists there is no excuse for failing to have capable, trained candidates in every riding years ahead of time. Consistent and early engagement strengthens the party's foundation and better equips candidates to connect with voters and convey the party's platform convincingly. Hewitt emphasizes that successful campaigns are team efforts requiring more than just the candidate's family and a few close friends. Running a campaign demands skilled volunteers who understand roles, from organizing events to managing communications and fundraising. Training these teams takes time and resources. Historically, candidates were nominated well before Election Day and benefited from comprehensive training programs focused on leadership, volunteer coordination, and voter outreach. Hewitt advocates for returning to this model to ensure campaigns are well-oiled machines rather than last-minute scrambles. As Mark Carney's leadership shapes the Liberal Party's policy direction, Hewitt sees the Conservative movement as positioned to offer a clear contrast. While Carney brings economic expertise and a message of progressive investment, Conservatives under Poilievre emphasize fiscal responsibility, individual liberty, and reducing bureaucratic overreach. This ideological divide offers voters distinct choices, but also demands that Conservatives prove they are ready to govern with competence and unity. Hewitt believes that highlighting the strengths of the entire Conservative team, MPs, candidates, and future cabinet ministers will build the voter confidence necessary to win a majority government. Grassroots involvement remains the lifeblood of the Conservative movement, Hewitt insists. Members must stay engaged beyond election cycles, contribute ideas to policy development, and consider running themselves. Campaigns don't start when the writ drops. They are years in the making. Early, continuous participation builds momentum and strengthens ridings. Hewitt admits he himself was slow to re-engage politically but recognizes now that sustained involvement is essential for lasting success. The overarching message from Hewitt's campaign and the Conservative leadership is one of resolve and realism. Canadians want governments that understand their struggles and provide practical solutions without overpromising. They seek leadership that respects their freedom, empowers families, and prioritizes efficient, effective public programs. Hewitt's record-breaking vote share in Hamilton Mountain is a clear sign that even traditionally liberal areas are open to new ideas when those ideas connect with voters' lived realities. Ken Hewitt's bold stance, "I'm not backing down," reflects a wider Conservative commitment to push forward with real change. This change is not about flashy rhetoric or empty slogans, but about concrete steps, better candidate preparation, grassroots engagement, focused policy, and a united team ready to govern. The road ahead requires learning from past mistakes, harnessing local energy, and sustaining a message that resonates beyond party faithful to the broader Canadian public. As the political environment evolves under Mark Carney's leadership, the Conservative Party faces a pivotal moment. Hewitt's experience demonstrates that with early preparation, authentic connection, and unwavering determination, even challenging ridings can shift toward Conservative representation. The future success of the party depends on translating this localized momentum into a national movement capable of forming government and delivering the real change Canadians expect and deserve.